The Giants will receive the kickoff. Ray Wersching back to kickoff number 14 for the 49ers, and back deep for the Giants, Lee Roussan and Kenny Hill. Kenny Hill in the last couple of years, in playoffs particularly, has been most effective in returning these kicks. It's going to be Kenny Hill. Took it away from Roussan. About a yard deep in the end zone. Never mind this time and that effectiveness, because he's out to the 15, stopped by Bill Ring. Phil Simms, of course, will start at quarterback for the Giants, and he'll look at this 49er defense. Up front, Tuiasa Sopo and Board on the ends. Michael Carter in the middle. The linebackers, McCall, Ellison, Fonhorst, and Keena Turner. Secondary, the two rookies on the corners, McKyer and Griffin. Williamson and Lott, the safety. Two tight ends they start with early. A gain of perhaps 3 by Maurice Carthon, stopped by Michael Carter. Let's look now at the Giants offense. Simms the quarterback. Morris and Carthon the runners. Johnson and Robinson the wide receivers. Up front, Benson, Ard, Oates, Godfrey, Nelson, and Mark Bavaro. Robinson is out, and Lionel Manuel is in. Split wide to the left, 2nd and 7. Again, it's two tight ends. Bavaro on the right, Moat on the left. Hand off Morris. Nothing there. Carter hit him first. Got away from him. Picked up one. Ronnie Lott up in the middle. He's finally stopped by Dwayne Board. There's Lionel Manuel.
You know, Lionel Manuel has been out really for 12 weeks, most of this season. The last 2 seasons, he's been their leading wide receiver, and Bill Parcells thought that maybe he was ready for the last regular season game, but he didn't want to activate him at that time. He felt he was ready to play, and he was going to bring him back in the playoffs.
And now Simms will operate out of the spread formation. He has Tony Galbraith back with him. Phil McConkey in motion. 49ers in his face, incomplete. McConkey, the intended receiver, but the 49ers were there in a hurry, led by Charles Haley.
Well, you know, that's what Bill Walsh says they're going to do. He says, we're going to get up there and we're going to pressure him. We're going to get right in his face. There's Charles Haley coming right up the middle as Phil Simms was throwing the ball. Last time, he said, we gave him too much time and too many passing lanes.
Right in his face, and Pro Bowl punter Sean Landetta back to punt for the Giants, and Don Griffin back deep for the 49ers. Good kick by Landetta. Griffin retreats to his own 33, and the Giants are down in a hurry, led by Greg Lasker. 48-yard punt, return of 4. Byron Hunt, number 57, also there. 49er quarterback Joe Montana, and the defense he'll look at, one of the best, Martin, Burt, and Marshall up front. Linebacking core of Banks, Reasons, Carson, and Lawrence Taylor. And in the secondary, Patterson and Williams on the corners, Kenny Hill and Herb Welch, the safety. Terry Kennard missing. First down, 49ers, their own 37. Montana to work. Roger Craig. Craig out of bounds after a pickup of about 8. Lawrence Taylor knocked him out. He might have gotten more than that. Montana, the quarterback, Cribbs and Craig, the runners, Clark and Rice, wide receivers. Russ Francis, the tight end, Fonhorst, Cross, Quillen, McIntyre, and Bubba Paris on the left side with the challenge for most of the day of blocking Lawrence Taylor. Close to a first down for the 49ers. Remarkable man, Montana. The recovery from the injury, the back surgery, and again they're measuring over on the sideline. Jerry Markbright is the referee. It really is, John. The comeback, the recovery, whatever you want to call it, the determination or whatever of Joe Montana, remarkable.
Well, you know, he's that type of guy. I mean, he's the type of guy that never showed pain, and then when he got the back and then the surgery and coming back, he said he knew that he was going to play, and he just had to get back in there and just block out the pain, and he was able to do that. I mean, you know, here's what the 49ers have done with Montana and without him. And as the players will tell you, when he comes back, everyone plays better. Even defensive play. Even the kicker kicks better when Joe Montana's there.
2nd and 1. It's only about a foot. The handoff is to Craig. He's got it. Harry Carson tripped him up. A gain of 4 by Roger Craig. Amazing thing, one of the things that Bill Walsh said yesterday, remember last year when the Giants beat the 49ers in the game here in the playoffs, beat them 17-3. It was worse than that. But Walsh said if I had known how bad Montana was hurting that day, I would not have played him.
Right, and I think that, Roger Craig was about the same way. Remember, he had 2 bad knees in that game.
Montana intended for Clark, incomplete. Harry Williams, the defender.
As you look at Montana, I was watching him on tape, and I saw a couple of games on television. I thought, since he's come back, he's looked different. And, you know that he had the back surgery, and maybe it's just knowing that, but what it is he's lost weight. He lost like 15 pounds, and he was never, a heavy guy anyway. And he was down to about 180 from his normal 195.
He's gained some of it back, but he's still thin. 2 tight ends for the 49ers now. Cripps and Craig. Montana quickly to Jerry Rice, and he's got some speed. He drops the ball. Rice chases it, doesn't come up with it, goes into the end zone. The scramble continues, and the Giants come up with it. He had a touchdown.
Tell you, that is unbelievable. That is an artificial turf turnover. What happens is you start to run, sometimes your foot will get caught, it just gives you an extra bump. Look at this. He's open here, he catches a pass against Elvis Patterson, runs by the free safety, Herb Wells, just drops the ball down his leg, knees it, pushes it forward into the end zone, and the Giants recover.
Kenny Hill came up with it finally. Montana and the 49ers thought they had a touchdown, and they did. But the pill got away, and the Giants will take over. Giant ball at their own 20 after Rice had a touchdown in sight and lost the football. And first down, it's back to Morris. And Morris could be off. Lott finally herds him out of bounds. First down, Giants, a pickup of 16. That's more yards than he got in the regular season meeting. Back to Jerry Rice and his problem.
Let's watch it again. Here, he's going to come in here, catch a slant right about here. Wells comes here. Patterson comes here. Rice runs right by him and fumbles here just after he changes up. Watch him here, the slant. Montana right on the run. Now watch here, the left hand, the ball just hit his chest in the running motion.
Sims again to Morris. Morris left side. Up close to the 40 and a gain of 5. Ricky Ellison on the bottom of the pile for the 49ers.
Well, I think Morris has gained more this first quarter than he gained the last game, the last time they played. 13 rushes for 14 yards.
However,
Bill Parcells was kidding his offensive line, and he was calling him Club 13 this week.
Morris got 6 that time. 2nd and 4. Bobby Johnson, the man in motion. Sims again to Morris, and Morris, a giant first down outside the 45. A gain of 6, tripped up by Tuiasosopo. That meeting, that first one, that yardage, that statistic you were just talking about, although he only got 13 yards, there was one big run in that game.
Well, that was the thing. The 49ers were going to stop Morris, and they did for most of the day, but the big play in that game to me was when they went for it on 4th down, the Giants did, they handed it to Joe Morris, and he made the first down. The play that the 49ers had to stop him on, they didn't.
Lionel Manuel is split wide to the right. Now he's on the move, and Sims back to throw. And this time he has time. Ball batted down by Charles Haley, I think.
Charles Haley is just a rookie. He's out of James Madison, and he's really been the best pass rusher on this 49er team. I remember I was in training camp when he started, and he just came in, and he was a natural pass rusher. The blockers at that time just couldn't block him. He has great speed. He has long arms, and he has a natural instinct to rush a passer.
And that really is something you can't coach. That's like being a great runner. That instinct. Here's Sims to Morris. Morris with room. Morris close to a first down again into 49er territory. McKyer finally tripped him up. That should be enough.
You know, most of the success that Joe Morris has running is to the right side in this very play. You see that lead block by Maurice Carthon. He's the guy that springs Morris at the line of scrimmage. You know, it was funny, the Giants rated their top 3 blockers, with the guys that blocked at the point of attack, 4 over. Carl Nelson was number 1, Carthon 2, and Chris Godfrey 3.
On the right side, you don't hear too much about those guys. Here's Sims back to throw. Has time again up the middle of Carthon. Down to the 49er 35. A gain of 7. Ricky Ellison stopped him.
You know, there's a guy who you don't hear a lot about because he doesn't carry the ball a lot and he doesn't catch passes a lot. But he's just like having another guard in there. And I think if Joe Morris, you know, if he buys his line anything or any of those type of deals, he ought to include Carthon in that gift list.
That 225 is not quite enough. He's bigger than that. Roussan now in the game in place of Morris. Manuel in motion. Roussan the ball carrier. On to the 30, another Giant first down. A gain of 5. Stopped by Ford. The Giants on the move.
I think this is the type of game that Bill Parcells wanted to play. You know, where we just run. We establish that we can run. We run Joe Morris. We give him a little rest with Roussan, and then we just mix in the pass. We don't run every play, nor pass every play, but just keep moving the chains.
Parcells just talking to Morris, saying, "Are you ready?" Morris said yes, but it's still Roussan. Sims to throw. Outside Roussan. He comes down with it. It is a catch. It's a gain of 4. Keena Turner was covering.
Yeah, we'll see Roussan just come at the left of the screen. Just run a flat. Good pass protection. You see Sims has that lane between his offensive guard and his tackle to get the ball out to Roussan, who makes a great catch. You know how good this guy is going to be. You know, don't forget that Otis Anderson is on this Giant team. Joe Morris is first. Roussan is now second.
Morris back. Hit at just about the line of scrimmage and twists down for a gain of a couple. Stopped by Tuiasosopo and Michael Carter.
Tuiasosopo is usually a nose tackler. He's more of a nose tackle type of guy than he is an end. But Jeff Stover, their normal starting left end, has a knee injury. So Tuiasosopo has to play left end. And then, of course, Michael Carter's a nose tackle.
He had to gain weight so they could get his name on his jersey.
Yeah, but Carter didn't.
No. Manuel in motion. Sims back with protection. For Bavaro, touchdown. From 24 yards out, Sims to Bavaro. Rutledge will hold for Raul Alegre to try to make it 7-0 Giants. Perfection. 7-0.
See, now Bavaro has a defensive lineman. Haley is over him. He gets off him. The 49ers are playing zone. That's a corner. McKyer there. Bavaro got even, and then Sims just threw it up over his head.
And with 7:29 left in the first quarter, the Giants lead the 49ers 7-0. Back deep for the 49ers. Think this is not the playoffs? Joe Cribbs is number 28. Roger Craig is number 33. back returning kicks. Allegre puts the foot to it. It's going to be Cribbs at his own 12. Steps out of one tackler, steps out of another, gets a good return outside the 40. Perry Williams finally knocked him down.
Let's watch the touchdown again. Here's Tim McKyer, the corner. Lionel Manuel goes in motion. McKyer comes in with him. Now he's looking at him, and Bavaro is here. He is going to get deep on him, because by the time McKyer figures out that he has to get back here, Bavaro is about here. Watch this. You see the motion starts in. McKyer starts in, starts back. Now he sees Bavaro, but by the time he does, Bavaro has to step on him.
49ers open with two tight ends in their second series. Craig right side, not much doing. Gary Reasons and Banks on the bottom of the blue pile.
I'll tell you who made the play on that is Carl Banks. Banks was on Russ Francis, and he took Francis and put him in the backfield. Watch, it's going to come out here to the right. Now watch, right there at the left of the screen. You see 58 Banks? He takes Francis, knocks him in the backfield. That knocks off the guard, Randy Cross, and it frees up all those blue jerseys.
2nd and 8. Montana to Roger Craig, same play, other side. Flag down as Craig gets out of bounds right in front of the 49er bench, knocked out by Herb Welch. Penalty marker down, however.
Could be against the 49ers. I think someone held Lawrence Taylor. Looked like he was tackled.
It's a good idea.
Well, the ball went right outside of Taylor. And I think it was Wendell Tyler, the halfback, who was leading on Taylor.
Holding number 28, offense.
Cribbs.
2nd down.
It is. It was Joe Cribbs. He's the back leading. Now watch Taylor. He's going to come. Now there's Cribbs, 28. You see, he just goes and tackles his right knee. There was no doubt about that when he just went in there and tackled him.
It's good technique if you're tackling. Marjoram now the third wide receiver for the 49ers. Here comes the giant blitz. Montana gets rid of it quickly, but it's Marjoram. Stopped by Welch. Pickup of 12.
Joe Montana is probably the toughest quarterback in the league to get rid of. I think the average quarterback throws the ball in about 3 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003. Joe Montana will release the ball about half that. And you just can't get to him. I know Lawrence Taylor was saying that it's so frustrating. He said, I don't think I've ever had a good hit on him. And he said, for a hyper guy like me, he's the toughest guy to play against. It's just frustrating.
He's so quick. Montana back to throw. Going deep for Clark. Pass almost picked off by Perry Williams. Montana under pressure. Just put it up for grabs. Clark almost came down with it, and so did Williams.
It looks like the ball was coming off his head. Watch the ball. It's right up there on top. And we'll see Perry Williams, the fastest player in the Giant team. Clark isn't going to outrun him, but Clark out-jumped him. And it looked like he had it over his helmet. Then maybe Williams' helmet knocked it out of there. You're not going to run by Perry Williams. You're going to have to put some kind of fake on him.
Runiger back to kick. And a good high hanger for McConkey to handle. Signals fair catch, lets it go over his head. The 49ers, Bill Ring, knocks it out of bounds. Inside the 5. I think he touched it about the 6, and that's probably where they'll mark it. The Giants 7. The 49ers nothing. 5:34 left first quarter. We're at Giant Stadium. Playoff game between the Giants and the 49ers. Both have had time to rest. Both look sharp so far. Sims overthrows Stacy Robinson. Incomplete. Don Griffin, the defender.
You know, starting this game, we were talking about the quarterback's release time. We can see that they're both getting rid of the ball quickly. Montana is 2.3, and usually on his real quick ones, it's about 1.5. Sims has been 2.6 now. Usually, he holds the ball much longer than that.
About 3 seconds would be considered, I think, to be normal. So that's quick for both of them. about the 15, a gain of 6. Michael Walter and Carlton Williamson, who plays many times like a linebacker, up to make the stop.
And that's the guy that they have to block. Now, when they run this side, they have to block Carlton Williamson. They tried to do it with a guard last time. This time they said they're going to do it with a fullback. Let Carthon have Carlton Williamson. Get on him. You see how he gets up there? Watch him. He's right up there. Now the ball starts there. He gets up in the line of scrimmage. Boom, right there. Carthon gets him, and that's a block that lets Morris get 5 yards.
Look out for number 49. The 49ers have their pass rush troops in there. Fuller, 49. Incomplete, intended Carthon. Pressure on Sims. Fuller didn't come, but the rest of them did.
You know, you watch the defensive line of the 49ers stunning now. Last time they didn't do that. They were stopping the run. Here we see the twists and the turns, and they're always going to have someone in Sims's face. Not let him have that step up and clean release.
That time it was Stover. Here's Landeta to punt, and another good one. Griffin retreats to his own 39. Fuller gets a block in front of him. Griffin out of bounds at about the 46 by Robbie Jones. 46-yard punt by Landeta. A return of 7. With 4.5 minutes left to play in the first quarter, the Giants over the 49ers 7-0. Montana looks to Rice. Got him again. Rice to the Giant 40. And again, Montana with that quick release. Perry Williams brought Rice down.
Well, you know, it was the same type of play that Rice had that wide open touchdown that he fumbled on. It's a slant. He ran it from the right side, this time from the left side. They had 2 tight ends on the right side. Giant defense overplayed to that side, and then boom, they hit the slant in there. Now watch how quickly he releases that ball. And crap, right now, 1.6. The rush can't get there.
Not even if no one blocks. Handoff is to Cribbs. Right side for 2. Not much doing. Stopped by Burt.
Well, you know, Bill Walsh has those first 25 plays scripted. And he knows, and he knew last night, and he knew today what plays he was going to run. You see him looking there. Now, what he did is he took the best plays that they had all year, and he made them part of the first 20. Now, also part of the first 20, he said, off all these plays, he has a counter play that he'll use in the second half.
2nd and 8. That's Craig to the Giant 35. Tripped up by Carson. Knocked down by Carson, more appropriate. A gain of 3.
You know, there was a thing in Roger Craig's locker about what Harry Carson said in his book about Roger Craig. And he was quoting some song or something, you know, like, wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you look, I will look. Wherever you be, I will, you know, something like that. And Harry put in his book after the wild card game last year, and so someone put it on Craig's locker this week.
Montana back on 3rd down to rush Francis, and that'll be enough for the first. Francis still on his feet. Hit from behind by Carson, out of bounds, but a 49er first down inside the Giant 15.
You know, and that's what Bill Parcells was worried about yesterday in secondary. Not covering as much as tackling. Watch here. Here's Francis, a short guy underneath. Watch Kenny Hill, 48, come up, miss. That's what he said. That's the thing that we can't have. We play zone defense. They're going to catch him with Montana. We can't let them run through our secondary.
Gary Reasons comes in, and Pepper Johnson gets out in a hurry. Montana goes to work in a hurry. Over the right side to about the 12 is Roger Craig. Stopped by Reasons, who just barely made it into the game.
You see here they have 12, they got 12, they got 12. They finally got 11 just before the ball was snapped.
As Pepper Johnson leaving. 2nd and 6, 49ers. They're at the Giant 12. Just over 2 minutes left in the first quarter. And the 49ers on the move. Cribbs inside. Hit by George Martin just as he passed the 10-yard line. He only got a couple. Martin, number 75. A lot of people said over the years that he was just a pass rusher. But when they lost Curtis McGriff, Martin had to play on every down, and has played extremely well. Clark is wide right, Rice wide left, 3rd down and 4. Montana over the head of Clark and out of the end zone, and Wersching will come on, I'm sure.
Well, you know one thing about Wersching, as he comes on, that he's not going to look up. He's a guy that's going to keep his head down when he kicks the ball, and he's going to keep his head down as he runs on the field. Watch him there. He's feeling his holder, Mike Murawski. He's going to let Murawski spot the ball for him.
You know what he said to me yesterday?
What?
Wersching? He said, "Do you remember any old excuses that I might not have heard of that I could use when they were coming out to practice?"
Well, I'll tell you, he's been kicking in his leg for 14 years. He ought to have them all. One you're not going to get is that he lifted his head.
I didn't see him miss all day yesterday. And today he's good again from 26 yards. And it's 7-3. Kenny Hill and Lee Roussan back deep. That's Roussan at the 1. 49ers down quickly. Roussan hit by Rathman. After a gain of 17. Good coverage by San Francisco.
Rathman, you know, was a draft choice out of Nebraska as a fullback. Good blocker, good on special teams, good tackler. Anytime you get a fullback out of Nebraska, the guy is going to be a good fundamentalist. He's going to be a good blocker, and you just saw there, that was a picture-perfect tackle.
He looks like a guy who would make a picture-perfect tackle.
Yeah, he had that. You see how his head was kind of flat from hitting.
It happens. Here's Morris, straight ahead. Struggling. A gain of 2. Michael Carter made the stop. He's been hurting a bit.
Yeah, I'll tell you, but he has that strength in the middle there. I mean, just watch 95 there. You see, he can hit with his right, play with his left. He has so much strength in that left shoulder. He just gave like a flex, and he knocked Bart Oates off of him. I mean, those guys have big old arms and shoulders, and they just go boom like that, and guys move.
2nd down and 7. 8 make it. Flag down, Sims to throw. Pass batted away at the last second by Keena Turner. Headed for Joe Morris.
Flag on the play.
Against San Francisco.
Offside. Number 95. Defense. 2nd down.
Michael Carter, the nose tackle of whom we just spoke, offside.
Yeah, I've never known how a nose tackle can be offside. Look, you're right there in front of the ball. Now, you have to look at the ball move. Now, I don't know that he moved. That looked pretty good to me.
Unless he lined up offside.
He could have had his head in what they call the neutral zone.
Could have. Morris on 2nd down. Walter tripped him up. A gain of 2. They needed 3.
You know, the thing is, though, you know, Michael Walter, 99 on that last play, he was a linebacker right up there next to Carter. Now, he was behind him. Now, he moved. But I don't know that Carter did. Let's see the same thing. See, now, you see 99 moves. He's okay. I don't think Carter moved. I thought it looks good to me.
I agree. 3rd down and about a foot, it would seem.
You know, for a nose tackle, though, Michael Carter has had some pretty good things happen to him. Remember, he was in the Olympics as a shot putter. And then that same year, he went to the 49ers and played in a Super Bowl game. So in 1 year, you have an Olympics and a Super Bowl. That's a pretty good year for a guy in the pits.
And they're back in the playoffs again. They trail right now 7-3 at the end of the 1st quarter at Giant Stadium. First play of the 2nd quarter coming up, and the Giants lead San Francisco 7-3. Damian Johnson and William Roberts. Two backup offensive linemen, Johnson in the backfield with Morris on the right side of your picture. Mowat in motion. They go to Morris, and Morris breaks out of the pack left side. First down and plenty more. Stopped by Tom Holmoe. That's a play, John, that I don't think anyone else in the NFL runs.
Well, you know what happened on that play? Here they put Damon Johnson. He weighs 290, so he usually leads. He kind of fakes a lead, and then they hand it back to this side to Joe Morris right here. But watch, everyone thinks they're going to follow the 290-pound guy. Here comes the motion. Now he stops up. Boom, they just hit it straight back, and Morris goes back against the grain and away from Johnson.
And Sims, with time, goes back to throw, hits Morris, and Morris is hit immediately by Carlton Williamson. Pass completion, but a gain of only 2.
Yeah, that Carlton Williamson, number 27 of the 49ers, is their strong safety, but he's kind of half a defensive back, half a linebacker. He led this team in tackles. And Bill Parcells is saying that's what makes the 49ers so tough to run against. You got the front 7, then you have Williamson up there. And he's a tough guy and a sure tackler.
In the opinion of his teammates, he's had his best year. Here's Sims to Morris. Morris looking for some room, finds a little bit. Gets just shy of the 50-yard line before Tui Asasopo, Ronnie Lott, and Williamson again on the tackle.
Yeah, we talked about Williamson. The guy who was the second leading tackler in the 49ers this season was Ronnie Lott, who's their other safety. So their 2 safeties were their leading tackler. And, of course, Ricky Ellison, the linebacker. And one of the reasons for that is Ronnie Lott was saying that he and Williamson said, we'll take care of everything. We have 2 rookie corners, Don Griffin and Tim McKyer. You just worry about your men.
They need 3 for a first down. They give it to Morris. He won't get those 3. What a hit by Ronnie Lott.
Okay, Ronnie Lott is another guy who's a half a linebacker in there. And he loves that part of it. Look at the way he walks. Square up those shoulders.
He might be a whole linebacker.
But watch him, 42. He's like a linebacker here. Now watch him come across. He hits Morris and turns him back the other way. From the moment of contact, Morris never had another forward movement.
Wow, check his number. Landetta back to punt. Don Griffin back deep for the 49ers, standing at his own 10. Long time. Another good kick. Griffin signals fair catch, makes it at about the 11. 38-yard punt. Not all that impressive in distance, but anytime you get it down there, you'll take it. 7-3 the score. 12:07 left to play first half. Montana behind Clark. I know. My fault.
You know, the thing is that they really don't get there, you know, on a Joe Montana. I mean, you know, you wonder where's Lawrence Taylor? How come there's no sacks? We talk about it, that quick release, something like that. He just goes boom, boom, and throws that thing, and there's no way you can get there.
It's all a matter of timing. He didn't even look at Clark. He just whirled it through. Now he gives to Cribbs. Nothing doing for Cribbs by Carson and Burt. A loss of 1.
I think this is what the Giants want to do, is once you get them down here, don't let them get in sync. Keep them out of sync. Once you get some good field position or put them in bad field position, keep them down there. Really press them when you have them down here.
A lot of blue shirts around the ball. The 49ers got both guards out, cross in front, but they couldn't get much done. Francis on the move. Montana again. Outside it comes to Cribb. The Giants, led by Carson, are right there. The captain right on the spot.
Well, that's the thing Bill Parcells says you have to do in the zone. We have to tackle. He said, get him 3rd and long. Let him throw that short thing and then come up and don't let him gain any more yards. Harry Carson learned that lesson. That's the thing that you have to do. If they're going to pass those short ones, just make them take the loss.
Runiger is number 4. Back to punt. Giants have 10 men up there looking at him. They're going to try to block it. They don't get there, but they force a bad kick. McConkey comes up, lets it bounce. It gets away from him. He touched it, now got out of bounds. That may seem insignificant, but that was a good play by McConkey to bat it up into the air and then get out of bounds and not lose it. 10.5 minutes left first half. Phil Simms back to throw for Buffaro. Incomplete. Didn't get both feet down.
I think Carlton Williamson had a lot to do to talk him into that. It looked like he had 1 foot in, and the second foot didn't get there. He has possession now. There's 1 foot. He gets the left foot in, and then the right foot is out. Yeah, that's finding the hole in a zone. You know, they had the 49ers were in a zone, and Bavaro just went out there and got in that middle layer of the zone.
Back to Morris. Sim. Morris outboard. Fumble. A loss of 2. They're going to say Morris was down. The 49ers indicating they had it. But Morris had no chance. Tuiasosopo.
Well, and the reason he had no chance is because Maurice Carthon didn't win that battle with Carlton Williamson that time. That was the thing they were worried about. Williamson getting penetration, getting in the backfield. So they assigned Carthon to him. But that time, Williamson still beat him. Let's see if we can watch it here. You see 27? He's up there in the backfield before Carthon could get to him.
Ooh, that might have been a fumble. He's still up. Here's Simms. There's a flag. Simms throwing. Pass almost picked off, but out of bounds. Stacy Robinson, the intended receiver. Don Griffin, the defender, who almost came down with the interception.
Illegal motion. Number 60. Offense. Penalty decline. 4th down.
Brad Benson, number 60. Pro Bowl bound as well, but had the job of containing Charles Haley. When you get one of those quick guys, you jump early sometime. Landetta standing at his own 30. Griffin for the 49ers back at his own 15. Good high kick. Boy, this is a rocket. Into the end zone. 55-yard punt by Landetta. He really caught that one. Not only long, but high. 9:26 left first half. Here's Tribbs trying to get outside. Banks with another solid, good play.
I'll tell you, Carl Banks is a good player. You know, you hear about the giant linebackers, and of course you hear about Lawrence Taylor. He led the league in sacks. You hear about Harry Carson's kind of the leader. But this Banks is really one of the good players. I mean, that's the second time we've seen him handle Russ Francis, who's one of the best blocking tight ends. Just takes him, gets his hands on it, waits, lets the ball get there, throws Francis off and makes the play.
A gain of 2 and make it 2nd and 8. Craig couldn't hear, came up for a listen. Now Montana outside quick Clark. That ball again was thrown long before Clark ever turned around.
Well, you know, Clark and Montana came out the first year, and they're not only, you know, teammates, but they're best friends. They're like brothers, and they know each other's every move.
That is, there's Jeff Stover over on the sideline. He was hurt coming in, and it looks like his ankle might be bothering him again. That is a great story about how the 49ers got Clark and how they got Montana. We'll have time perhaps later on to tell it.
Well, Phil Simms is even part of that.
Yeah. First down, San Francisco. Montana fakes to Cripps, goes deep. That one's going to be picked off by somebody. Rice down in a hurry. Lateral to Elvis Patterson. Patterson still has it. Chased by Craig. Now by Cribs, and down he goes. Welch made the interception. Lateraled. 16-yard return. The Giants go into 49er territory.
Well, that was Carl Banks again, who was right on Montana, forcing him to throw. It looked like Montana thought that Rice was going one way. He just threw it out there in the middle. Rice is off to the right. Herb Welch comes up with the interception, starts to run, laterals to Elvis Patterson. I don't think that was a forward lateral. And then Patterson runs it the rest of the way.
And the Giants have it at the 49er 45. They go with 2 tight ends again. This is Joe Morris. Morris is gone. Joe Morris. He just took one giant step. 14 carries for 115 yards for Morris already. He just hit from 45 yards away. Allegre's extra point makes it 14-3.
Joe Morris gets most of his yardage to the right. This time he got it to the left. Good blocking. Brad Benson gets good movement on Dwayne Board. That's the first block that creates it. Then Morris gets through the hole, and he just outruns Carlton Williamson. Hey, watch the left tackle, Brad Benson there. The second guy in. He got movement. He got things knocked back, and that gave Morris that soft spot.
Give another good block to Zeke Moa, too, on that same side, right next to Benson. 14-3. Giants lead with 7.5 minutes left in the first half. High kick to Craig, who handles it at the 14. Byron Hunt and Robbie Jones down to make the stop. A return of 16 by Craig. Joe Morris. I don't think he knows it's cold.
I tell you, the Giant offensive lineman said that they were going to get Morris 100 yards. Bill Walsh says we'll give him his 100. They're not going to beat us deep. But I don't think either of them thought it would be this much this soon.
With 7.5 minutes to go in the first half, he's already got his 100. Craig was the man in motion. Montana down the middle. Rice, but a flag down back at the line of scrimmage. A gain of 18. Elvis Patterson on the bottom of the pile for the Giants, but a penalty marker down.
It looks like it's going to be holding, probably against the left tackle, Bubba Pierce. Usually when that guy calls it, that's what it is, although it was illegal motion. See what they call it? Oh, yeah, it's John Frank. It's the tight end.
Number 86, offense, first down.
The 49ers are also using a lot of 2 tight ends. Second tight end being John Frank, who moved on that play.
And remember who was lined up across from him? Lawrence Taylor. And it's amazing, as we've talked about before, how many times those guys cause penalties. Montana, trip, nothing. Burt was there first.
I'll tell you, Jim Burt, the nose tackle, makes a play, but the big play to me was by Carl Banks. Here's Jim Burt here. Banks is out here. He's going to stuff it here, and Burt squeezes it from this end. But watch on the top of the screen. Banks come across, take on the offensive guard right there. And then that makes him cut back right into the nose tackle, Jim Burt. Watch 58 take on Guy McIntyre. Get right down there, shoulder to shoulder. Give him no lane and let Burt catch him from behind.
Would help from reasons. Here comes the blitz against Montana. He had to just throw it away. It was Pepper, Johnson, firing up the middle, and no one picked him up. That's reminiscent of the first meeting between these two.
Well, you know, there's a guy that Bill Parcells says is going to be playing more and more. He's only a rookie. He said he's kind of a combination between Reasons and Carson. He said he has more speed, good tackler, good inside type of guy, and he is now becoming their third pass rusher, Pepper Johnson.
Adequate size as well. Third down, 16. There they come again. Flags are down. Montana for the green spot. No one close. It's going to be against the 49ers. They got them rattled right now.
Well, they sure do, because they're changing up their defenses. They're keeping the pressure on. Now watch here what they're doing. Instead of getting pressure from the outside, they're bringing, you see Banks and Pepper Johnson come inside. See, they want to get that rush right up the middle in Montana's face. See, because it doesn't do any good. The outside guys will never get there. The way to get to them is straight up the middle.
That'll make it 3rd and 21. Randy Cross moved. Burt jumped around him, but the penalty was against number 51.
Cross moved when he saw those two linebackers up in there.
It was time for concern. Outside Craig with a blocker cross in front. Craig to about the 25. Ball flies out of there. Andy Hedden made the stop, but the 49ers will have to punt.
One thing, these Giants are going after Joe Montana in this 49er passing game. They're not going to let him have any time. They aren't going to let him have any lanes. And when he does complete it, they're going to go after him and gang tackle.
Runiger back to punt. McConkey back deep for the Giants. Line drive kick. McConkey retreats. He'll have some room to operate. McConkey head over heels at about the Giant 43, hit again by Rathman.
Look at McConkey celebrate. You need that on a team. That guy's the spirit of a team. Maybe not the greatest player, but the heart.
14-3, 5.5 minutes left first half. Sims going for more. Has got a man. Incomplete. Stacy Robinson had 2 steps on Ronnie Lott. Tim McKyer. That pass was there.
And you know what Phil Sims is thinking? You set that thing up. You wait for it. It's first down. You're going for your big one. You get the coverage you want. You throw the ball out there just like you want it, and it's an incomplete pass. You know, sometimes you'll wait a whole half for the situation to get the right play. And then when it happens, you have to get it in the end zone.
It was there.
Phil Sims did his part. The line did their part.
2nd and 10. Roussan was the man in motion. Sims back to work again. Out of the pocket with room. Sims first down. Out of bounds at the 49er 43 by Ricky Ellison, but a gain of 14.
You know, Phil Sims does a lot more for this team than he gets credit for this year. For some reason, I don't know, he's an easy guy to jump on, but I think he's done an outstanding job. You know, the quarterbacks that are in the Pro Bowl this year, this guy has a 4-0 record against them. I mean, you think of Kramer's for Minnesota, they beat them. You think of Schrader, right, beat them twice, and then beat Elway, who's in there. So his record against Pro Bowl quarterbacks is 4-0, and he'll be watching.
Maurice Carthon. Nifty move. One you really don't expect from him. To the outside for a gain of 8. Stopped by Lott.
They like to get in behind their right tackle, Carl Nelson, and their tight end, Mark Bavaro, up on top of the screen. Watch him on Haley. Just dives out, gets right inside. See, gets his body between Haley and the ball carrier. Then when Carthon jumps outside, Bavaro turned and took him the other way. That was a double dipper. Take him out, take him straight, boom, take him in.
Second and 2. Carthon again. Close to a first down. Brad Benson came flying out of there. Over on the 49er bench, Bubba Paris closest to you. 4:32 remaining first half. Giants leading 14-3. Jim Burt and his backup nose tackle Eric Howard next to him. Now it's Moe out on the move. It's Morris to the left. The same play that they broke for big yardage earlier. Jim Fonhorst this time stopped Morris after a gain of 1. But that should be enough for a Giant first down. Morris is split wide to the right, just up at the top of the screen. Sims throws to Carthon. He is hit after a gain of maybe 1 or 2 by Haley and Walter.
I think I'd get the ball back to Morris or Roussan. The Giants have not been a big fullback running team. The fullback is basically a blocker. And they've probably run the fullback more in this first half than I can remember in any game.
Well, Morris goes out now, and Roussan, number 22, just checked in. Manuel in motion. Second down, reverse to Manuel. People in front of him, and down he goes. Dwayne Board. Manuel has had an injury, a leg injury. It looked like it might have buckled a little bit right there, but he seems okay.
It looked like a reverse run by a guy who was rusty from a 12 weeks of inactivity.
Third down, 49ers showing blitz on Sims. They don't get to him. He gets it out to Tony Galbraith. And he might get it close enough to attempt a field goal. A gain of 11, stopped by McKyer, but that might have gotten him down into range. The Giants leading the 49ers 14-3, 2 minutes remaining, first half. Giants got a touchdown. Here comes Allegre to try the field goal. It'll be about 45 yards. Giants got a touchdown from Bavaro from Sims on 24-yard pass completion and a 45-yard run by Joe Morris. This will be a 45-yard field goal attempt by Allegre with Jeff Rutledge holding.
Got a fake here.
Unusual. Allegre is split wide to the left. Pass comes back to Rutledge. Bavaro wide open. First down, Giants at the 49er 5. Holmo knocked him down.
And that one will make a head coach smile. That was some play. They shifted their kicker out wide and hit their tight end. Watch it here. Allegre's the kicker. Now he shifts out. Carthon shifts back. Bavaro is on the right of the screen.
49ers have no defensive backs in the game except Holmo.
By the time he figured out what happened, there was Bavaro. That is the type of play that will make a head coach smile. We tricked him.
Now I wonder who's the genius. Morris around the corner, touchdown. What a penalty marker down.
Holding, number 61, offense, first down.
You know, they get that play on the fake. They get the first down. They score the touchdown. Now you bring it back, and it's on the 15-yard line. If they don't get it in, that lack of score could be sitting up there all day. There's a holding right there. See 61 Godfrey, the left hand, and he didn't have to do it. Morris was already by him.
Right. Sims back to throw. Up the middle, almost picked off, juggled by Ronnie Lott. Intended for Bavaro. Lott almost came up with the interception.
Ronnie Lott is kind of the veteran leader, kind of the soul of this 49er defense now. Remember the first year they went to the Super Bowl, he was a rookie cornerback. Now he's the veteran safety. Reading things like this, he sees Bavaro, gets a good jump, but you know what happened? His hands were too close to his body, and the ball just hit his shoulder pad.
And bounced away. Second down. Giants at the 49er 15. Sims back again with time. In the end zone, McConkey in through his hands. He had to spin around. Sims now blaming himself for that one.
McConkey is running a corner pattern, goes to the end, then he goes back outside. I don't know that that ball wasn't there. I don't know that he couldn't have caught that. I don't know if Sims is upset at McConkey or upset at himself.
I think himself.
Or maybe neither. Maybe he's just upset that he didn't get the touchdown.
3rd down and 15 at the 15. Sims with people in his face. Touchdown to Bobby Johnson. Sims got up slowly, but he still threw the strike.
I'll tell you, Bobby Johnson comes in motion, comes all the way across here, up here, and into the end zone. But watch that. You see, he comes in motion to get him moving. Watch him. He'll start here. Here comes Johnson across. See him running across here? Now he's going to start straight up and then back the end zone. They were zoning. They came up and they let Johnson get through it and beyond it.
Allegre, as Rutledge fumbled the snap from center, just barely got it down before Allegre kicked it. Sims, as you said, John, really took a shot from Dwayne Board and Fuller, but still hung in there long enough to get it down into the end zone.
Now that's why a quarterback has to know the pass pattern, know where every receiver is going, because with a rush like that, you're not always going to see those guys. I'm sure Phil Sims didn't see Bobby Johnson.
No idea. Cribbs and Craig again back deep for San Francisco. Allegre's kick deeper this time, but Craig will take it at the 2. Cribbs, I'm sorry. Cribbs gets out to about the 27. Finally knocked down by Mark Collins. Return of 25 yards. 43 seconds left to play in the first half. The Giants 21, the 49ers 3. Montana, no place to go outside Rice. Rice out of bounds. Stops the clock. Elvis Patterson. Flag down, however.
Ineligible receiver. Downfield on the forward pass. Number 51. Offense. First down.
Number 51 is a right guard, and that would be Randy Cross right here. Now what happens is sometimes they fire out. I don't know why he would go downfield. There he goes, though. I don't know where he was going. It wasn't a screen. He just wanted to find another blue jersey.
1st and 20. Montana back to throw. Going deep. It's going to be picked off by Lawrence Taylor, and he's got a lot of room to run. Montana is down. Taylor is in the end zone, but Montana is hurt. Rice was the intended receiver. Lawrence Taylor was the only man there as Montana took a shot.
Watch the hit. It was Jim Burt. Burt came through and unloaded on Montana. Montana just threw it out there. As you say, Lawrence Taylor was the only guy out there. I'll tell you, Montana was really bounced off that turf. It looks like they're checking his right shoulder. Watch the thing again. Burt is going to come straight up the middle off Quillen's block there. Hit Montana. I don't know. It could have been either shoulder the way he hit there.
Nothing dirty, nothing unnecessary. Legitimate by Burt.
You know, he looks like he's woozy, Pat. That look, maybe it wasn't the shoulder. Maybe he was just, or maybe he was knocked out.
That's what it looks like.
I tell you, he is awfully wobbly.
And headed for the 49er locker room. The touchdown is official by Lawrence Taylor from 34 yards away. Here's the extra point attempt by Allegre. And it's good. Back for another look.
Yeah, here's the whole play again. We'll see the rush. We'll see Jim Burt coming right up the middle. We'll see Montana getting rid of it, throwing the ball out there. As he got hit, that took a little off. So it was short out there to Rice. Lawrence Taylor getting back in his zone. Seeing that ball, of course, when he catches it, it's in the end zone. There's no 49er between he and the touchdown.
With 28 seconds left to play in the first half, the Giants lead. Allegre bounces the kick down in the direction of Roger Craig. He can't pick it up, falls on it, and says that's enough. Turnovers, turnovers.
Well, you know, the big thing is not only that you get turnovers, but what you do with them. Look at the Giants. They've got a fumble and 2 interceptions, and they turned those turnovers into 18 points.
28-3 they lead. Jeff Kemp is now the 49er quarterback. He goes back to throw. Flag down. Kemp just trots around.
You know, one thing, we have Jeff Kemp in here now, and you see that he's thrown 11 touchdown passes.
Number 77, offense, first down.
Kemp can throw the ball deep. As a matter of fact, it's interesting when you look at Jerry Rice's statistics. Jerry Rice did better when Jeff Kemp was in there than Joe Montana.
More yards.
But more yards and more touchdowns.
25 seconds left, 1st and 15. The ball back at the 49er 10. Kemp back to try to throw. Upfield. Derek Crawford was the intended receiver. Kemp had the ball there. 2nd and 15. 49ers back at their own 10. Jeff Kemp replaces Joe Montana. Clock runs. Now they stop it. Kemp intended for Rice, or in that direction. Gary Reason's in the area, and another look.
I'll tell you one thing. I think this Giant defense really has this 49er offense out of sync. And it may be, I'm not a big one that believes in intimidation, but there could be a little intimidation, this Giant defense, because they've been doing the job. They've been putting the pressure on them, on the 49ers. They've been tackling. They've had guys all over the field. They've gone out there in this first half and have made things happen.
Here's Kemp back to throw again. Up the middle. Marjoram. Incomplete. Kemp comes out. The 49er punting unit goes in. Max Rueniger's number 4. McConkey back deep for the Giants. They lead it 28-3 with 6 seconds left in the first half. Rueniger's kick is another good one. McConkey retreats to his own 42. Hit down as the first half comes to a close and the crowd comes to its feet. The Giants leading 28-3. As we begin the start of the third quarter, the Giants lead the 49ers 28-3. Allegre's kick bounces over the head of Cribbs, and he goes back to down it, and the 49ers will stop and start from their own 20-yard line. Rushing yards in the first half. The Giants led by Joe Morris, 144-18. The 49ers 3 turnovers. Turnover points 21-0. And over, we say the same thing. That'll do it to you.
Well, you know, if you could go in a game and, you know, you say, I want to be able to run the ball well and not have any turnovers, that's a pretty good game plan.
You'd be in the Super Bowl just about every year. Jeff Kemp at quarterback for San Francisco. Montana has not come out of the 49er locker room as yet. Roger Craig, left side. Out of bounds after a pickup of about 6 by Harry Carson.
You know, I think what the 49ers will want to do here, Pat, and what Bill Walsh is probably telling his team, we haven't scored a touchdown yet. Let's go out and start. Let's start the same way we started the first half. Work on that first score. You know, if you start to look, we're down 28-3. What are we going to do? You don't look at 25 points. You look at getting the first score.
2nd and 4. White, Clark split out wide to the right, Rice to the left. Jeff Kemp, the quarterback. Russ Francis in motion. Straight ahead to Cripps. Not enough for a first down. Banks tripped him up. A gain of 2. It'll be 3rd and 2.
You know, I think Carl Banks is probably the best guy. Watch Banks here. I think he's probably the MVP. Watch how he comes in here, gets penetration, takes on the block, and gives the ball carrier nowhere to cut. Watch 58. The ball snaps. See, he gets a penetration, gets in there low on Craig, knocks him back, and doesn't let Cribbs even get to the line of scrimmage.
3rd down, and they need about 3. Giants showing blitz, and here they come again. Pass from Kemp to Rice, complete. Enough for a first down, and penalty markers down.
Look at Dwight Clark trying to tackle Jim Burke.
I think it's going to be against Elvis. Patterson against Rice.
Pass interference, number 34, defense, automatic first down.
28-3. Giants lead. They show blitz again, and now they back out. Jeff Kemp outside of Rice. Dodges one Giant. Hops out of bounds. Herb Welch. Should be enough for another San Francisco first down. Montana still in the locker room. The word we got was possible concussion. He might be back, but he still hasn't returned.
Yeah, the 49ers are off to a good start here with Jeff Kemp at quarterback in the second half, but remember the first half they started the same way. Hit Jerry Rice with a big post pattern. He's running free to the end zone. He just fumbles the ball. And it was kind of downhill after that for the Niners.
Rice comes wide to the right this time. Craig and Cribbs behind Kemp. That's Craig in motion. Kemp outside quickly to Craig. Up in a hurry is Carl Banks.
I'll tell you, today in this game, Carl Banks is the best player in the field. I mean, we've seen him blitz. We've seen him come in and stop the run. Now we see him run out and cover Roger Craig and make an open field tackle for no gain. Watch him here. Craig is going to come to the outside. He was in motion. Boom, here comes 58 right down the line, makes that tackle, and Craig doesn't take another step forward. He just throws him around like a rag doll.
A loss of 1. Make it 2nd and 11. Kemp looking in the direction of Rice, throws down the middle for no one. Russ Francis might have been the closest 49er, but Kemp was under pressure from Lawrence Taylor.
You know, I've been talk all week about how the 49ers are going to take advantage of Herb Welch, who's starting there at the weak safety position. Of course, if you get pressure like that, you're not going to be able to get deep to the weak safety anyway.
You and I could play safety.
Well, no.
Reasons is out, and Pepper Johnson is the Giant linebacker, number 52. 3rd down 11. And Pepper Johnson standing up in the middle. Craig away from Welch for a moment, but not enough for a first down as Welch takes down Roger Craig after a gain of 7. The 49ers will have to punt.
You could just feel Herb Welch's determination here to make that tackle. That's the thing that the Giant coaches have been talking to that secondary about. They've challenged him on that. You got to be able to do that. And you could just feel Herb Welch thinking that as he was chasing Roger Craig.
Taking the place of the injured Terry Kennard and doing a fine job. Runniger. The punt for the 49ers. McConkey standing at his own 10. McConkey, no fair catch at the 18. About the 24 before he's stopped by Randy Cross. 28-3. The Giants over San Francisco with 12:22 left, 3rd quarter. Ball's at the 25. Sims, Morris. Only a couple. Ronnie Lott, Charles Haley to make the stop.
You know, Charles Haley, we talked about him being from big James Madison. Remember a couple weeks ago we were in Washington and we had that waiter at the restaurant, and he said He said every time anyone says James Madison, they always say Little. You know, like little James Madison College. He said, we got over 10,000 guys there, 10,000 students.
Said you guys referred to.
Yeah, you guys. I never said little. Big James Madison. Oh, it's big.
2nd and 8. Sims. Outside the 30, about the 32, a gain of 5. It'll bring up a 3rd down, and again Charles Haley and Ronnie Lott make the stop.
Of course, Charles Haley's from Big James Madison, and the other guy from Big James Madison is Gary Clark, the Washington Redskins, a wide receiver. That's 2 pretty good NFL players.
I would say.
Gary Clark is a Pro Bowl type player, and Haley is going to be one. They say he's a lot like Fred Dean, you know, that not going to be the big, strong defensive lineman, but has good leverage and great speed and quickness.
Same kind of function. Here's Sims to Morris, and Morris has a 1st down. You know, we said this before about him, John, but a lot of backs have to sort of glide before they make the cut. He can make that cut at top speed.
You know, and the thing about that is having strong lower legs. Strong calves and strong ankles can make you make that cut at full speed. And that's what he does. He doesn't have to get turned.
Morris is the deep back. Maurice Carthon in front of him. And it's back to Joe Morris. Morris around the corner, out of bounds. A gain of 6. Giants Stadium, East Rutherford, where the Giants lead the 49ers in the NFC Divisional playoff 28-3. 49ers committed 3 turnovers. The Giants turned all 3 of them into touchdowns. Joe Morris has 127 yards rushing. Joe Montana is still in the 49er locker room with a concussion. And Phil Sims, again quietly, has had another good day. Flag.
Michael Carter jumped off sides again. That one was legitimate.
Number 95, defense. 1st down.
That's why he's so upset. I mean, you know, the nose tackle, they're always taught, you know, watch the ball move. But it can be the inflection of the quarterback's voice. Sometimes the center just puts a little more pressure on the ball with his hand, just squeezes. Any little thing. Those guys are up there so tight, so jumpy, that they'll jump on any little movement.
Paint to paint. 1st and 10 Giants. That's Manuel in motion. Fake to Maurice Carthon. Man wide open downfield. This is Roussan. Tina Turner knocked him out of bounds. Stacy Robinson had broken clean deep. Sims went to Roussan underneath.
You know, I think that Roussan is going to be like the pass receiving halfback of this Giant team. You know, they have Carthon is the running fullback. Tony Galbraith had been the pass receiving fullback. Joe Morris is now the running halfback, and I think Roussan is going to become the pass receiving halfback.
Morris behind Carthon. Barrels down to about the 20 behind Maurice Carthon blocking. Tim McKyer made the stop.
I like that Maurice Carthon. I think, you know, we talked about the things. It's not a glamour thing when you have to lead all the time and get those blocks, but when he comes firing around that corner leading Morris, he looks like he's you know, he's always square, he's always bent, he's always going to make that block that knocks that guy out and clears the lane.
2nd and 2. McConkey split wide to the left. 49ers showing blitz. They give to Morris. Morris around the corner again. And a penalty marker down. Flag came flying late that time. Morris picked up 6, got enough for a 1st down. Let's see about the penalty.
Illegal block. Number 89, offense. Still 2nd down.
Well, that's against Mark Bavaro. Let's see what he does there. has his hand. I don't think it's illegal so far. Looks pretty legal. Got an arm caught in there, a little push. I don't know. That looked legal to me. See, but if Joe Morris had another yard or so, he would have scored. Yard of width.
Second down and 9. The line of scrimmage, the 49er 28. The Giants lead at 28-3. Roussan has replaced Morris. Sims looking in his direction. McConkey, touchdown. Sims to McConkey from 28 yards away. Allegre for the extra point. Rutledge holding to make it 35-3 with 8:56 left in the third quarter.
Let's watch the pressure that Phil Sims had, Pat, on that last pass. Ricky Ellison, watch him, number 50. He's going to come straight up the middle there. Sims, I don't think, again, he may have seen McConkey, but he didn't see him when he threw that ball. That's the second touchdown pass he's thrown to that right side when he's had a guy hanging on him just as he threw the ball. Wonder how he got the velocity on it to get it up over the corner and into McConkey's arms.
Boy, you're so right. What a heck of a throw. Bring on the Redskins. It looks like they'll be here next week. Craig in front of him to the 25. Hit down by Andy Hedden. Here's Jeff Kemp. Nothing doing. He's hit by Leonard Marshall just as he lets it go. And he had to let it go.
Hey, Kemp doesn't have anything to throw to. He's looking right all the way. And Marshall hits him. He just had to get rid of that ball.
Second and 10.
That was the game plan for the 49ers. Get that rush up the middle.
Kemp almost intercepted by Mark Collins. Intended for Clark. Joe Montana hit by Jim Burt in the closing seconds of the first half. Suffering from a concussion. Still in the locker room. Giant defense has been rough on quarterbacks this year.
Well, you know, two of those, they put Tommy Kramer out earlier. Then on successive Sundays, remember we did the game, Danny White, that was a hand and he was out for the season. Jaworski the next week was a hand and he was out for the season.
And now Montana. Crowd chanting defense, and they are really fired up, the crowd and the defense. Incomplete to Rice. Behind him by just a bit. And the 49ers again will have to punt. For the defense. The ovation.
It's a standing ovation, Pat. I'll tell you, these Giant fans have waited a long time for a championship game here. And they've also learned to enjoy and appreciate this defense.
Deservedly so. Kick to McConkey at the 35. Away from one man. Hit hard and knocked backwards by Bill Ring. Number 30, 40-yard punt by Runiger. 8:24 left third quarter. The Giants 35, the 49ers 3. Phil Sims with Maurice Carthon and Joe Morris behind him. Morris. Skips and cut down, maybe back to the line of scrimmage, a loss of perhaps a yard.
You know, Pat, once we were talking about Joe Morris earlier in the season, I was talking about physics. That Joe Morris is not a little guy. I mean, Joe Morris is a big guy. He's just short. But, I mean, he has big, powerful arms, shoulders, legs, and the whole thing. And, physics, I thought if you take your power, you weigh around 200 pounds, and you keep it short, that would be stronger than someone who was the same weight, taller. So anyway, I got a lot of letters on that.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. Sims down by Haley. First sack on Sims all day.
Well, what it is, it's mass times velocity equals power.
Is that a record?
Well, Morris has a record for it. I mean, the mass and the velocity under, that like 5'6". So he has his 190-some pounds. You see that package there in about 5'6". So that power is shortened down. So you get more power spread over less area. And then that's called the mass. Then when he runs, that's called the velocity that equals the power.
3rd and 20, Sims firing deep. McConkey intended. Along with Bobby Johnson, nothing there. Good coverage by the 49ers. 35-3, and the Giants send on Landeta. McKyer and Nixon were back with the 2 deep men. Here is Sean Landeta.
He's had a great year this year. In fact, it's a Pro Bowl year, and as a reward, he gets a new helmet next year. One that fits, not that tight, short one.
Not related to physics.
Well, there's something in physics, too. The size of the head squeezed into the helmet.
49ers put the rush on Landeta. They didn't touch him. He got it away, and the Giants will down it at about the 25. 6 minutes and 56 seconds now left to play in the 3rd quarter, with the Giants dominating the 49ers. They lead 35-3. Not a very happy 49er bench at the moment. They've been dominated this afternoon by the Giants. Jeff Kemp now at quarterback still. And back to throw. Outside of Francis. And out of bounds. Carl Banks, the leader there first. A gain of only 4.
We don't have a most valuable player, I don't think, do we? Where you say at the end of the day, this is so-and-so's most valuable player. But if we did, I think this guy has to be the most valuable player, Carl Banks. I mean, he has been all over the field. I mean, and he's been back and open field tackles and rushing and blitzing and stopping the run. He's been on this left side. He's a one-man gang over here.
And it's been a tremendous year for him as well. The other guy has more recognition, perhaps, but he's really played well.
I think he's going to be the next All-Pro on this team.
Nothing there for Joe Cribbs. The first man to tackle him was Harry Carson.
But, just like that play again, I don't mean to talk about Carl Banks every play, but Banks comes across and he takes out the interference. Watch him come across here and take out the guards pulling. He takes him down, knocks him down, causes a pile. Now there's no place for Cribbs to go.
Third down. They need 7 for a first. Got to throw again. Cribbs on the move. Kemp quickly. Clark drops. Had it, juggled it, lost it. Mark Collins on the cover. And again, the ovation for the Giant defense. .5:21 left, 3rd quarter. Runniger on again to punt. McConkey back at his own 34. To his 44. To just about midfield. 30-yard punt only by Runniger. 5-yard return. Mike Walter made the stop. 5:12 left, 3rd quarter. Morris and Maurice Carthon, the running backs. It's Joe Morris. And Joe Morris blasts for a first down left side. Carlton Williamson tripped him up. Morris stays down. Latest word on Joe Montana. As you recall, if you were with us earlier, he was hit by Jim Burt in the closing seconds of the first half. Suffered a concussion. Was very woozy. Steadily improving, we hear from the 49er locker room, but Joe Montana will not be back. He's hit by Jim Burt. With the ball inside the 49er 35, stopped by Dwayne Board. A gain of 4.
Let's watch Dwayne Board down there. This is what it looks like when you're in there. You're man-to-man against a tackle. You're watching his move first, so you move, push him down. So he just knocked Benson down, and then just came in and made the tackle on Rusan. Dwayne Board is one of the solid players in this league. One of the guys who plays the run very, very well and is a pretty good pass rusher.
2nd and 5, as again you look at Dwayne Board. Hand off Rusan, steps out of one tackler. Got away from one more before Jim Farnhorst brings him down with help from Carlton Williamson. A gain of only 1. Total offense today, the Giants 316 yards, 35 points. The 49ers 142 yards and 3 points.
And I still think it's a story of the defense. I mean, I think Phil Simms had a big day. Joe Morris had a big day. But the defense set up and gave them a lot of those situations.
3rd and 4. Morris back in the game, flags it down. Morris cuts back. He's got a first down. Ronnie Lott on the bottom of the pile. A gain of 4. Put a flag down on the play.
Offside, number 72. Defense. First down.
First down, Giants. Stover jumped. Maurice Carthon over the left side. Stopped by Board again. Morris is in motion. Zeke Moat, touchdown. From 29 yards out this time. Simms to Moat. Perfect.
Bill Parcells said that Zeke Moat back this year, he never felt he was really all right until this week. He said you may see some big plays from Zeke Moat because until now I never felt he was really back. All year he's been there and he's been coming back. He said, but now this week, this game, I think he's back. Simms just throws it out. Moat's able to stretch out and get the ball for the touchdown.
That particular pass pattern has been very, very kind to the Giants throughout this year, where they split those seams in a zone. Allegre hits the extra point, and it's 42-3. Allegre's kick. Returned by Joe Cribbs. Cut down from behind by Byron Hunt and Lee Rusan. Giant playoff record for Phil Simms. The 4 touchdowns. 9 out of 19. Not all that good, but the 4 TDs. Simms on the phone. McConkey asking the crowd, hey, this guy deserves more than you've given him.
That's the kind of guy Phil McConkey is. I mean, he's the kind of guy who realizes it, knows it, and wants everyone else to know it.
Cribbs by Banks again. A loss of 6.
I'll tell you, they're going to go back. The 49ers are. They're going to go back and they're going to say, hey, this guy right here, we never could get him, so we never could get around there. Every time we'd start out there, he'd run up, he'd do this, and we'd lose 5 yards. How are you supposed to run the ball on that guy they call Banks?
That guy who plays like Lawrence Taylor, but's got a different number. Cribbs has carried 8 times and gained no yards. Kemp back to throw, hit in the back by Lawrence Taylor and Leonard Marshall, just as he got rid of it.
This This is when it's fun if you're a defensive player. When you got them down, when your crowd's doing this, you know they have to pass, and you can come from the backside and you can rush it. It's no fun when you're on the other side. Just watch. Here comes Taylor and Marshall from the backside. Those guys are always a nightmare to a right-handed quarterback.
This is when it's fun to be dressed in blue. 1 minute left, third quarter, 3rd and 16. Hemp. Pass picked off by Pepper Johnson. Johnson inside the 15. Pepper Johnson down to the 5. Kemp finally tripped him up. That's a step I haven't seen before.
I like that one because you got both the right and the left in there. It's not one-handed. You gave both sides of the body equal time. That's the way you should do it. The thing about Pepper, he doesn't stop celebrating quickly.
1st and goal, Morris down inside the 5, knocked out of bounds by Ricky Ellison. Pepper Johnson saying, keep that for me. I may have to play some more. Morris and Carthon. And off Morris. Touchdown Morris. Seconds left in the 3rd quarter, and it's the Giants 48, the 49ers 3. 2 yards out for Joe Morris. Rutledge will hold again for Allegre. Allegre is 7 for 7.
I think right now Bill Parcells is starting to think about next week. He has this one won, and he's probably going to start making some substitutions. I think I would. I don't think I'd have Phil Simms in there anymore. I don't think I'd play Morris anymore.
Lawrence Taylor, he scored a touchdown. The MVP in the NFC.
And remember the big day that he had against the Skins the last time they played at RFK. Joe Jacoby had a heck of a time trying to get him blocked. He caused Jay Schrader a lot of problems rushing from that backside.
Allegre's kickoff is handled by Roger Craig at the 9. By McConkey. And some more special teamers. Robbie Jones, Pepper Johnson again. The home field, this Giants stadium, has been kind to the Giants this year. Look at what the home field advantage has done in the last 6 years.
Well, you know, those were all the NFC teams, and every team since 1981 that had the home field went to the Super Bowl.
They'll have it next week. Here's Joe Cribbs. A loss perhaps of a yard, stopped by Leonard Marshall. Ready to start quarter number 4. The Giants leading 49-3. NFC Divisional playoff. And the 49ers, Jerry Rice on a reverse penalty marker down. And they'll stop it before it really gets underway.
There's Lawrence Taylor. You know, remember when he first came in, he was a rookie in his first, second year. He was always so lively and so vibrant.
Offense, 2nd down.
In practice and everything. And he's saying now that he's getting a little older and he has to kind of pick his spots for his energy. So he doesn't do that anymore in practice. He says he tries to save it for the game. He says he's getting old. He lives wild. He plays wild. And he said when you do that, you age a little quicker than some of the others.
I forgot. 2nd down and 16. Here's Kemp back to throw. Does throw to Clark. Dwight Clark carries a lot of folks out to midfield. Mark Collins A gain of 30. Kemp to Clark.
This is one thing the 49ers been doing all day, running that slant pass where the receiver comes up about 6 or 7 yards and then slants to the inside. They had some big plays. The first play that Rice had when he fumbled, it was a slant. And he had another one, and that was a slant that Dwight Clark just caught.
You wonder how the complexion of this game would have changed if Rice hadn't fumbled that early.
I don't think it would have been any different. Today is the Giants' day, and I think their defense had anything the 49ers were going to do.
Kemp down by Eric Dorsey, and Pepper Johnson again.
You know, we're now seeing some of these young defensive giants. That's Dorsey there who gets the sack. Eric Howard, another rookie, is playing nose tackle. We see Dorsey up there on top coming in there. And this is the thing that the Giants can do now. They can get some of their players out and get some of these young players in playoff games. This is Bubba Paris against Leonard Marshall, and he got him on the pin. He got the takedown, and then he got the pin. That was like off the top rope.
2nd and 17. Taylor after Kemp. Francis with the completion, and nothing doing. Herb Welch there first with an assist from Kenny Hill.
Tell you, this is no fun for Jeff Kemp to come in a game when you're down 49-3, and the guys are good pass rushers anyway, like Lawrence Taylor and Leonard Marshall, and these guys, Carl Banks, playing the game of his life, and you have to go in and try and do this.
A lot of speculation last week about who would replace Ray Perkins as the head coach at the University of Alabama after he went to Tampa Bay. Well, that question has been answered. It's Bill Curry, who was at Georgia Tech.
He's the old Green Bay Packers center, wasn't it?
Correct. Kemp, incomplete. Intended for Rice. Running her back to punt. Good kick. Conkey at his own 13. Dodges a couple, gets out to the 20. And let's see who the Giant quarterback might be. I think it'll be Rutledge. Rutledge is the quarterback. It's Roussan and O.J. Anderson, the running backs. Roussan, the ball carrier. Taylor, Burt, and Banks.
Well, you see, when you take your shirt out like that, that means you're not going to play anymore. When you go like that and you don't have your helmet anywhere and your shirt tail is out like that, that's in the rules. It says when you do that, you can't play anymore. So I'm sure that that's the end of Lawrence Taylor's day.
At least at the stadium.
Well, they're starting the celebrations now.
Brian Johnson. Rutledge, the quarterback. Roberts, one of the running backs. That's O.J. Anderson, the former Cardinal. No gain.
You know, the Giants picked up Otis Anderson this year just as insurance for Joe Morris. And Joe Morris has had a great year. And Otis Anderson, Bill Parcells says, has really been a valuable part of this team. You know, he does the scout team stuff, hustles all the time, gives everyone a look, understands his position. If Joe Morris is healthy, we don't need you. If Joe goes down, you're a very important part of this team.
Third down, 8.5 or 9. Giants at their own 22. Rutledge gives again to Roussan. Roussan got only a couple. Larry Roberts made the stop for the 49ers. And here comes Harry Carson seeking out the Gatorade.
No, that's a tease. He said it's coming. You don't do it there. McConkey's looking to see what's in there. You know, that bucket, though, is just like a kicker or something. You know, no one pays any attention all day. It just kind of sits there. Then at the end, when you need it for your celebration, it becomes big.
Well, you know that Bill Parcells has got it somewhere stuck in the back of his mind that they're going to pour that thing on him today.
Yeah, and he would like to get 2 more pours.
next week.
And then he'd like to take the bucket and fly it to Pasadena and get another dumpski there.
Landetta, Bart Oates is the center. Landetta to punt. John Griffin retreats, signals fair catch. Greg Lasker was right in his face. 43-yard punt, no return. The 49ers take over. The Giants lead 49-3. Ronnie Lott is number 42. Tremendous player. And really a great competitor. Today must be really resting on him. Kemp knocks down the official as he tried to get out of the way. The pass intended for Russ Francis.
Well, he threw that right at Art Demas, the umpire, I think, was there. Art Demas had to either catch that one or try and dodge it. I've always thought that he was one of the good umpires, though, Art Demas. Yeah, he's there over the ball. The thing I always liked him, he was one of the few umpires in the National Football League, and that's the guy that's standing right there behind the defense. But he was one of the few that sweat. And I always liked him because he sweat.
Here's Cribbs around the corner. Demas himself was a football player at Vanderbilt. Robbie Jones knocked Cribbs out of bounds, so he knows about sweat.
Well, yeah, I mean, some of the times you just get the feeling that the guys, if they're sweating, they're really working. You know, and if they don't sweat, then you wonder what they're doing. But he was always in there, kind of in the middle of the thing. Right there. You see how he is? You kind of fix the hat there. See, he has a little sweat going. You pull some stuff off the nose there and kind of hang in there. But that's where all the action happens. See, it all comes right there at you. See, look, they have to key like a middle linebacker.
3rd and 3. Rathman got enough for the first down.
I think someday what the 49ers planned to do today was use Tom Rathman and Roger Craig. 2 fullbacks in there, and Craig being more the running back and let Rathman be in his blocker. Rathman is one of the good blockers. He's only a rookie, but he blocks very well.
Both from Nebraska.
And that kind of goes automatically. If you're from Nebraska and you're a back, you block.
First down, 49ers. Kemp again to Cribbs. Maybe 3 yards. Stopped by Eric Dorsey, number 77. Nice greeting for us and for CBS. We'll be at the Super Bowl. 2nd and 7. Here's Kemp. Clark juggles, handles, out of bounds by Mark Collins.
Even Dwight Clark at the end of this game, down 49-3, still catching passes, still gets upset with himself when he bobbles the ball. I mean, he is really a perfectionist, you know, and he believes that you put your hands out there, boom, you just catch the ball out of the air. And even there's no way the 49ers are going to win this game. You can just see how a perfectionist feels when everything doesn't go perfectly. And of course today, whoa.
Far from perfect. Clark and Rice both left side now. 8:19 left to play. Kemp. Pass picked off by Mark Collins. And they say it was out of bounds.
Mark Collins read that one well. Watch, you have the deep guy, Clark, or Clark's the short guy. Rice is the deep guy. Collins just comes in and splits them. 1 out, 2 out. So he had both feet out of bounds. Sometimes they get 1 in and 1 out. Sometimes they get both in. Sometimes they get both out. Sometimes they get a knee in and both feet out. Sometimes they get 2 knees in and 2 feet out.
8:14 left to play. Here's Cribbs. No place to go. Eric Howard, number 74, was the first Giant there. A loss of 5 by Cribbs.
I think Joe Cribbs played halfback all day today, and I don't think he gained a yard. I would bet when you add it up, that he may have like 10 carries or 12 carries and no yards.
Never got around the corner. 12 carries for 4 yards for Joe Cribbs. 25 yards for the 49ers. 200 for the Giants.
I'll tell you, when you look at every situation, every part of football, the Giants completely dominated the 49ers today.
No doubt about it. Kemp intended for Rathman. Bounced off his hands. Today they are number 1.
There's part of that offensive line. The 2 guards, Billy Ard, Chris Godfrey. They've really done an outstanding job all year. You know, I mean, for Joe Morris's running, not only for his running, but for Phil Simms' pass protection, that unit has been healthy all year, and they've played great all year.
And they've been together now for enough years so that everybody is familiar with everybody. And for offensive linemen, that's certainly very important. Veronica's kick goes out of bounds at the 3-yard line. That's where the Giants will start to operate. 7:12 left to play, and it's 49-3. Including the 2 of us, everyone thought this was going to be a much more even match than the score you just saw, 49-3.
Well, you know, you don't expect a Bill Walsh team to get beaten this soundly. I mean, you don't expect them to, for all intent and purposes, to get shut out. And you don't expect the Giants to score 49 points. But, you know, it's just kind of their year. This is the type of thing that everything is going their way. I mean, from the start, they've had good things happen to them. They had that game in Minnesota. They get the big play, the 4th down play. They had some tough games. They had to come back. They won. They had injuries. They still won. There is nothing that the Giants haven't overcome this year.
Rutledge, the quarterback. Roussan and Anderson behind him. Nothing doing. Anderson, the ball carrier, hit immediately by Dwayne Board. And again, disappointment for Bill Walsh. Handoff from Rutledge to Anderson again. Back to the line of scrimmage. Nothing doing there. Michael Carter on the bottom of the pile. A loss of 1 perhaps. Lawrence Taylor, the year he's had.
Now, he looks like he was thinking about it, about thinking what he's going to do. You know, should he get up and celebrate yet, or talk, or what are we going to do next week, or who would have thought?
Rutledge, Roussan by Ronnie Lott.
Well, the running stats of the Giants are sure going down now.
The averages.
Yeah, they're trying to run out this clock and get the game over, and the 49ers, with all their passing, really aren't cooperating.
Harry Carson lurking around by the Gatorade bucket.
He looks mischievous, doesn't he? He looks like he has that look that he's going to do something.
Well, he is.
Well, we all know that, but I mean even more than that look.
Sort of a look of a guy who thinks he's going to the Super Bowl. Waiting as long as he can is Sean Landetta. 30-second clock is down to 14 now. Now less. And they'll wait as long as they can to snap it. Don Griffin standing back for the 49ers. Nobody got offside. Landetta out of the end zone. Good high kick again. Griffin at the 47. Greg Lasker again right in his face. Kemp out of the shotgun.
I think the 49ers had illegal motion.
I think so.
They can't even get the ball snapped anymore.
Ball start, number 69, offense, first down.
Bruce Colley. Pretty good package of cameras there, huh, John?
Well, that's an NFL record for a small amount. I mean, not for total cameramen, but in a confined area. There's more than there ever has been at a game in New Jersey.
Here's Kemp again under pressure, firing Clark incomplete over his head. Tom Flynn back on the coverage. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New York Giants and the National Football League is prohibited.
We think about next week, and the championship game is going to be here. Bill Parcells has done such an outstanding job with his team, but sometimes I think of the owner, like Wellington Mara. When things were going bad, he took a lot of criticism. And now when things are going well, I think those people are critical. I think you have to praise the guy.
Well, I think you have to praise Wellington and his nephew, Tim.
Well, the same thing. I mean, I know that, when they were bad and when things were going wrong, it was easy to jump on them, and everyone did, and they worked out their problems and worked through them, and through George Young and with Bill Parcells and with these players, they built a championship team and organization.
And they lead 49-3. 3rd and 10. Hand off to Rathman. Trying to get around the corner. Nothing there. Eric Howard, the strongest man on the Giant team, there to make the stop. I don't think Carson is coming back in the game, do you?
No, he's in a contest right now, and it's a different hat contest. And I mean, he had his football hat on, then he had some kind of stocking cap on, and now he has the other one. He's trying to get this one right here. If he could get this guy's, then he could win the contest.
Zeke Moad, who scored a touchdown today. As Bill Parcells said, he's back to where he used to be. Brad Benson, that nose is never going to get well until football is over.
And then it'll never get, I mean, it'll just heal up, but there's always going to be a big old scar there.
I mean, here he's got a disguise on now, does Carson.
For the obligatory victory bucket.
Has Parcells seen him yet? How can a guy like that expect to hide?
Parcells is looking for him. He doesn't know who he is. Who is that guy? There's a guy behind the bucket.
That's 49-3. He's got the bucket. They got him occupied. Much joy on the other side of the field. They're going to get him again.
I think we're doing a double bucket today. See what Harry can see? There's a trick. We're seeing a trick. He empties half of it before he dumps it.
Going to get him again? How did they get that time? Pat Hodgson. No, Belichick.
That's a defensive
coordinator.
They said you did a heck of a job with our defense today. This is what you get for it.
Rutledge hands off to Rousseau. Stopped by Michael Carter. 1 minute 50 seconds left to play. The Giants 49. The 49ers 3. Third down and 3. Not much happiness on the 49er sideline. A lot of happiness on the other side of the field and in the stands. Billy Hard, who had such a good year. They all did. Their 15th victory of the year today. Rousseau. run it down. The Giants 49. The 49ers 3. Today's game, John, well, domination, intimidation. I don't know what the correct adjective is, but the Giants were very convincing.
Well, you know, or a combination, all the above. And I think that's what a championship team is, not one-dimensional. And then, of course, to me, the real hero of this game is defense. I mean, they just got on top of the 49ers and just smothered them all day. And the other thing, I think, the big thing is the Giants come out of this healthy.
The Giants 4.